وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُّدَّكِرٍ
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वकफ़ा वसलामुन अला इबादिल्लज़ीना इस्तफ़ा अम्मा बाद औज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम इन्ना नहनु नज़्ज़लना ज़िक्रा व इन्ना लहू लहाफ़िज़ून अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला सय्यदिना मुहम्मदिन व अला आलिहि व सहाबिहि वसल्लम। My honorable elder and younger, my dear brother and sister, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. As you know, our topic is continue the Quran, a message from God in word of a new Muslim named Muhammad Asad, formerly named Leopold Weiss. He tells of his experience in a Berlin subway that drew him closer to Islam. In this regard, he says, one day, it was in September 1926, Elsa and I found ourselves traveling in the Berlin subway. It was an upperless compartment. My eyes fell casually on a well-dressed man opposite me. Apparently, a well-to-do businessman with a beautiful briefcase on his knees and a large diamond ring on his hand. I thought idly how well the portly figure of this man fitted into the picture of prosperity which one encountered everywhere in Central Europe in those days. A prosperity the more prominent as it had come after years of inflation, when all economic life had been topsy-turvy. Most of the people were now well-dressed and well-fed. And the man opposite me was therefore no exception. But when I looked at his face, I did not seem to be looking at a happy face. He appeared to be worried, to be sad, and to be grieved, and not merely worried, but actually unhappy, with eyes staring vicinity ahead, and the corner of his mouth drawn in as in pain, but not in bodily pain. Not wanting to be rude, I turned my eyes away and saw next to him a lady of some elegance. She also had a strangely unhappy expression on her face, as if contemplating or experiencing something that caused her pain. Nevertheless, her mouth was fixed in the stiff semblance of a smile which I was certain must have been habitual. And then I began to look around at all other faces in the compartment. Faces belonging without exception to well-dressed, well-fed people, and in almost every one of them I could discern an expression of hidden suffering, so hidden that the owner of the face seemed to be quite unaware of it. This was indeed strange. I had never before seen so many unhappy faces around me. Or was it perhaps that I had never before looked for what was now so loudly speaking with them? The impression was so strong that I mentioned it to Elsa, and she too began to look around her with careful eyes of a painter accustomed to study human features. Then she turned to me astonished. Then she turned to me surprised and said, "You are right. Your observation is right. They all look as though they were suffering torment of hell. I wonder, do they know themselves? What is going on in them?" I knew that when they did not, or otherwise they could not go on wasting their lives as they did without any faith in building truth, without any goal beyond the desire to raise their own standard of living, without any hope other than having more material amenities, more gadgets, and perhaps more power. So, when we returned home, I happened to glance at my desk, on which they opened a copy of the Quran. Inshallah, our next lecture, the part fourth of this topic, which is continued for a few days. What is the Quranic answer in the word of Muhammad Asad, formerly Leopold Weiss, will be described. Almighty Allah, may all of us Muslims to give courage, to give guidance, to serve the Muslims, to serve the Islam before our death, to please Almighty Allah and give us power and give us courage to spread the message of Islam all over the world, all over the non-Muslim, so that they embrace Islam and may save their lives from the fire of hell after this world. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.